In today's video, we're going to talk about envy. And envy is something that we may have all felt at some point in our life. But when a narcissist feels envy, it's very different, because the envy that a narcissist feels usually comes from a sense of entitlement. Now, when we talk about envy, what do we mean? Now, if we look at this from a psychological perspective, and we think about what Carl Jung said and what Freud said, envy is a structural part of our psyche that is born from the fact that human beings are social and hierarchical creatures. Envy is usually born from the act of comparison. So when we start comparing ourselves to others, this is when we may start feeling envious. If somebody else has something that we are lacking, this is when we will feel envy. Essentially, envy reveals the things that we are lacking and we secretly desire, that we secretly value. And in this day and age, social media is something that I believe has made envy so much worse, because we are constantly comparing ourselves to complete strangers that we see on Instagram or Facebook. We are always seeing people put all these happy images of a successful life, of a wealthy life, of their family, and everything that is on social media is mostly positive. But that is not the reality. The amazing philosopher Nietzsche said that envy can be a material of greatness if it can be transformed into ambition, if it can be transformed towards a goal that we want to grow towards. If, however, we allow the feeling of envy to paralyze us, we will feel a lot of self-loathing and we will not progress at all. We will stay stuck. Envy is about the potential in ourselves that we may have neglected, or it is about the unmet needs that we may have from childhood because we grew up in a dysfunctional home and we had a lot of neglect and a lot of abuse. Now, this, of course, is through no fault of our own. And a lot of people with NPD struggle with feelings of envy. But these feelings of envy have entitlement behind them. And then these feelings are transformed into resentment and hatred towards another. Now, somebody with NPD will look at somebody else's possessions and they'll think to themselves, I deserve that. Why don't I have that? They will literally seethe in envy and they'll think, how dare that person has that lifestyle? How dare they seem so happy? How dare they have that beautiful family? Envy from a narcissist's point of view is filled with anger and resentment and hatred because of those unmet needs that this individual has from their childhood. Let's not forget, NPD is usually created in a child's childhood, and there was a lot of trauma in that childhood. Narcissists that feel envious will hate you for what you have, and they will want to take it from you. They may be passive aggressive in relationships, or they may actually just be aggressive. So envy can be very dangerous if the wrong person expresses it. But most people that may experience envy don't actually take it beyond that level of just thinking about it. Usually they're able to let it go, or it pushes them towards bettering themselves, helps them work towards a goal of improving something in their life, reaching what that other person has that they want. Envy doesn't always necessarily have to be bad. We can make something good out of that feeling. If we were to look at our own feelings of envy and we were to inquire about those feelings and think, what are these feelings trying to tell me? Why do I feel so envious of this person or the things this person has? This can be extremely beneficial as long as we don't let it spiral out of control, as long as we don't let this feeling of envy turn into resentment and hatred. Unfortunately, envy can make us extremely bitter. It can make us wish harm on others. It can make us celebrate the downfall of others. And obviously this is not healthy. This is not something that we want to feel, because it also takes away our own joy. It destroys any gratitude that we may have in our life, because there are always things to be grateful for in our lives, however small. When envy dominates life, it becomes a scoreboard, and basically no amount of personal joy is enough if someone else that we are comparing ourselves to is happier. If we constantly stay focused on other people and what they are doing and how successful they are, we are going to remain bitter and resentful and miserable. Envy, unfortunately, distracts us from the possibility of having joy in our lives. Envy can disguise itself as proof of our inadequacies, but it is actually proof of something that could be our potential. If we see something that somebody else has and we want it, we can go for it, if obviously this is possible. If we want to have a better job and a better life, we can strive towards making that goal a reality. It is not impossible. Another important fact that is worth mentioning about envy is that it's actually a form of projection. We are essentially reflecting onto others an unlived part of ourselves, an unresolved part of ourselves, or an unconscious part of ourselves. It's important to understand that when we feel envy, we can use those feelings and make something positive out of them. When you have somebody with NPD in your life, the things that you will notice the most when they are envious is that they are resentful, that they are bitter, that they are angry, that they are passive aggressive, and that they're always comparing themselves to others. They hate it when other people do better than them, and they feel inferior when that happens. If a narcissist has a child and they see their child do better than them, they don't like it. They will usually do things to sabotage that child so they don't do better than them. Let's not forget that a narcissist, especially an overt narcissist, does tend to have fantasies of exaggerated power and exaggerated success, and their envy creates a lot of conflict because of that. They want to have that power and that success, and they will either align themselves with other people that are powerful and successful so they feel good and they feel better about themselves, or they will sabotage people so they can become better. When a narcissist has envy, it is much more complicated and much more destructive. And if you have ever experienced a feeling of envy, just look at how you experience this. Maybe your envy comes from a lot of grief. Grief that you didn't have certain needs met. Grief that you didn't have loving, supportive parents. Grief that you didn't have the ability to grow and learn in a healthy way. That you are behind all your peers because of all the trauma that you had. There is a lot of grief attached to that, and then a lot of anger that's attached to that grief. But remember, when you feel that envy, just go inwards and tell yourself, I am feeling this because I am sad. I want to grieve my losses. I didn't get those things and I deserve those things. Talk to your inner child and tell your inner child that yes, you deserve to be loved. You deserve to have good things in your life. And if you didn't, then it's not your fault. And if you didn't have those things, then you have to grieve. You have to allow yourself to feel that sadness. And then from there, you can look at the things that you do have in your life and try and feel grateful for the small things, the small comforts that you do have in your life, the things that you have been able to do. And wake up every day and write 3 things that you are grateful for. And stop comparing yourself to everybody else. Stop looking at social media. It is literally poison. Try and live life on your own terms, within your own capabilities, and you will feel much better. That is the end of the video today. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. If you have any questions at all, or you would like to share a comment below the video, then please feel free to do so. And also, From the end of September, I'm going to start doing more online art therapy groups that are going to run for 8 weeks at a time. So if you're interested in joining an art therapy group, then please get in touch by emailing me at courageisallyounneed@gmail.com. So that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you very soon.